The world we live in is beautiful and at times scary and mysterious. It's Top 10 Scary Urban Legends. I'm your host Makayla, and today we are talking about top 10 terrifying places you should never visit. Starting off at number 10, the forest. The Aokigahara Forest, also called the Sea of Trees, sits right on the edge of Mount Fuji, roughly a 2-hour drive west of Tokyo. At the entrance of the forest, you're greeted by a sign that reminds visitors that life is a precious gift from their parents. Aokigahara's dark reputation has been around for decades. Legend has it that in the olden times, when food was in short supply and the situation grew desperate, a family might take a dependent elderly relative, typically a woman, to a remote location and leave her to pass away. At first, the ghost visitors had claimed they saw in Aokigahara were presumed to be the vengeful spirits of the old who had been abandoned to starvation and the mercy of the elements. But that all began to change in the 1960s. More than 100 people who were not from the area surrounding Aokigahara took their own lives there between 2013 and 2015. Countrywide, people who took their own lives there totaled roughly 24,000 in 2015 alone. According to the country's Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, these numbers do not include attempts people made. Now at number 9, Bran Castle. For most people, Bran Castle in Romania will evoke one name only: Dracula, the bloodthirsty character from Transylvania. Count Dracula, the sadistic prince condemned to live off the blood of living people for eternity, was the creation of Bram Stoker, a 19th century Irish novelist, inspired by the stories and legends of Transylvania, whose local population believed in vampires. Stoker placed Dracula in a fortress that perfectly fits the description of Bran Castle. Bran was, however, at first a military fortification built by the Teutonic Knights in 1211. Besides Dracula, people say evil spirits live in the castle. Haunted Happenings and British Ghost Hunters organization went to the castle. They claim that stones have been thrown at them in the pitch-black tunnels underneath the castle. Some of them have seen strange green mists. People claim there is a dark and sinister presence down in the tunnels, which makes people feel unwell. And shadow figures have been seen, as well as full bodies of soldiers, peasants, and warriors. Here at number 8, Eastern State Penitentiary. This prison was built with the idea of evoking repentance in the hearts of the prisoners instead of only punishing them. The prison aimed to bring social change through solitary confinement. Upon completion, this ambitious prison was one of the largest and most pricey buildings in the United States. The concept of isolation and the ultimate prison design was taken in by over 300 prisons all over the world. At first sight, the imposing building may send chills down your spine. The gray walls look absolutely terrifying. As you roam through the blocks, you will witness 30-foot barrel vaulted hallways, skylights, and tall windows. Terror seems to reside at every nook and corner of the building. You can even read chilling stories of prisoners who spent years in here without meeting a soul. The vaulted cells still evoke fear amongst visitors. Coming in at number 7, Highgate Cemetery. The cemetery in its original form was made by the Bishop of London on the 20th of May, 1839. It was part of an initiative to provide 7 large modern cemeteries to ring the city of London. In 1970, Highgate Cemetery became run down, overgrown, and undeniably spooky. In February of that year, David Farrant claimed he had seen something strange, a ghost-like figure. He became convinced that satanic rituals had been taking place within Highgate Cemetery's grounds, and that an evil entity had been summoned there from another realm. Now at number 6, Murni Diamond Mine. Murni Mine, otherwise known as Mur Mine, is one of the largest man-made dugout holes in the world. It is an enormous open pit and is located in eastern Siberia. The diamond-rich deposit was discovered on June 13, 1955, by Soviet geologists during the larger-scale Aminsky expedition to the Yakut ASSR. The mine is over 525 meters deep, making it the 4th deepest of its kind in the world. It has a diameter of 1,200 meters. Open mining operations ceased in 2001 with an importance on underground mining for diamonds commencing in 2009. There are some who say it can suck helicopters from the sky, like the Bermuda Triangle, and that is why you don't want to fly over it or probably even go near it at all. Halfway at number 5, Underwater City. Lake Minnewanka in Banff is usually where lots of people take gorgeous mountain lake Instagram photos in Canada, but below the surface, 60 feet under the water to be exact, you'll find Canada's most hidden underwater ghost town. This underwater city started out as a resort from the lake and was built in 1888. Rich people would vacation here to enjoy the water and mountains. The Calgary Power Company eventually decided to build a new dam, which made the water levels rise so much that it put the town underwater. People say around the city the water is extremely cold and essentially just gives people bad and spooky vibes. Here at number 4, the Hill of Crosses. Lithuania's Hill of Crosses may be creepy, but it has been an important pilgrimage site for more than 150 years. Over its history, it has been a controversial destination and has faced frequent demolitions by Soviet forces, who suppressed all forms of religion. It has been a sacred place for residents of Lithuania since the devastating battles in 1831 against the Russian Empire. Known as the November Uprising, the battles resulted in extensive casualties for Lithuania, but since the country's independence in 1990, the hill was there to stay, and it's currently seeing lots of people as a popular dark tourism site that's equal parts captive and chilling. Now at number 3, Akadasoa Fetish Market. Togo's Akadasoa Fetish Market is recognized as the largest juju market in the world. It is a place where voodoo practitioners can find pretty much anything they need for their rituals. The religion is very much alive today, despite centuries of Christian and Islam influence in the Gulf of Guinea from Nigeria to Ghana. In fact, there are many Christians and Muslims today who don't identify as a voodoo worshiper, but still combine the practice of their religion with the practice of voodoo. Taking our number 2 spot, Island of the Dolls. The story of La Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of the Dolls, is intimately entwined with the story of Don Julian Santana Barrera, a native of Mexico City. Don Julian left his wife and family sometime in the mid-20th century to isolate himself on an island on Tsululu Lake. His reasons for doing so are hazy, but later became clear. He was not necessarily of sound in mind. Not long after relocating, he made a chilling discovery on the shores of his island. The body of a young girl drowned in the lake. A doll came floating down the canal shortly afterward, changing the course of his life and the shape of the island for years to come. He took the doll and hung it from a tree in order to please the spirit of the girl. But he, as the island's caretaker, thought that one doll was not enough. For the next 50 years, he would take dolls from the trash and from the canals and hang them from the island's trees. Some he'd hang whole and others in various states, headless, torso-less, or taken apart in other ways. Coming in at number 1, Catacombs of Paris. Paris is beautiful, but located 20 meters underground is a maze of galleries. Visitors will discover a cemetery containing the remains of several million Parisians. In the 18th century, doctors realized that they were responsible for many different diseases that were popping up around the city, and lots of people started to pass away, and they were running out of room in their current cemetery. As a way to relieve the city of the odor and the disease that was coming out of the cemetery, the city of Paris came to the conclusion that the cemetery needed to be shut down. Now the question became, where do we put all of these bodies? The answer came in a system of old quarries located in a town outside of Paris called Montrouge. The quarries extended into a bunch of tunnels that were located beneath Paris. The tunnels are very long and confusing, and it's easy to get lost if you don't have a guide. People also perform satanic rituals in the tunnels, and people have heard and seen many spirits. I even remember watching a movie called As Above, So Below, and it freaked me out and I almost passed out when I found out it was a real place. I highly recommend watching it if you have a chance. It's terrifying. Well, that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.